Opinions and suggestions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and are not necessarily endorsed by KRMG, Cox Media Group Incorporated, or the program sponsors. This following program is sponsored by Causeway, LLC. Information in this broadcast is not intended as an investment, tax, or financial advice. Matthew Moore is not a licensed investment advisor and speaks solely from his experience and opinions. All information in this broadcast is for entertainment or educational purposes only. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa are not responsible for the success or failure of any person's investment decisions or purchases. Matthew Moore, Causeway, LLC, and Cox Media Group Tulsa makes no and expressly disclaims all representations, warranties, and guarantees with respect to this broadcast and its sponsors. Investing in any market is inherently risky and can be financially dangerous. Invest at your own risk. Gather knowledge in the world of cryptocurrency right now on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk. Welcome to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. Matthew is locally based right here in Tulsa. Questions, comments, concerns? Call 918-460-5764 or send us an open mic using the KRMG app. Now, here's Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore.
And good Sunday evening to you. My name is Russell Bills. Thank you so much for joining us for Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. We are live and local in the big city of Tulsa, Oklahoma, with one of the world's only all crypto radio broadcasts. And we literally have listeners from around the world and folks that join us from all over and from many fields of endeavor, including, the arts, acting, and, sometimes even sports. And that's where we're going to go today. But I want to let this guy tell you more about it. He's our host and the namesake of the show. His name is Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Russell. It's so awesome to be here. We love doing this show, and you are absolutely right. We have many worlds that end up colliding in cryptocurrency. And so we have some fun conversations. And today, man, this is a guest that I didn't expect that we would have anytime soon, but I am so stoked to have him. And I'll share a little bit more as we unpackage this show and get things started. But the thing that I want you to consider, okay, guys, if you're listening to this program, maybe you're new to the world of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, there's no doubt that there is a lot of innovation, ingenuity. I mean, really, it's a world where intellect, grit, and consistency, no joke, they are often rewarded because, this is an emerging technology in space, and a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who are looking to buck the status quo. But, this entire space was born from the ground up from this kind of defiant cypherpunk libertarian movement in which, like I said, bucking trends was kind of celebrated. So, today, the world of cryptocurrency has now collided. It's official. Not because it's just my show, but because it's happening. It's collided with the world of combat sports. So if you're into combat sports, I think you're going to like this episode. It might sound strange, right? But honestly, these two worlds might have a lot more in common than you think. And sure, one is about technology, while the other is kind of more about human skill, obviously combat. But they both carry this thread of defiance and resilience, endurance, right? Well, on this episode, we've got a real mixed martial arts champion joining us to talk about how his career has collided with the world of cryptocurrency. Obviously a new love. You might have heard of him if you are a UFC fan. His name is Ben Askren, a.k.a. Funky. And to help me unpack this epic interview is my friend, Tulsa top producer, premier realtor from eXp Realty, and fill-in co-host for Eric Cooper. His name is none other than Joshua Anderson, or shall I say, Mr. Anderson. Joshua, thank you so much for fitting in or filling in for Eric Cooper. I don't know if you caught that Matrix play there.
I got it. Hey, Matt, no, that's the first time I heard that.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Awesome, man. No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Matt, let's keep this show on the road.
Yeah.
And let's bring in the legendary MMA champion, Ben Askren, a.k.a. Funky. He is a two-time NCAA champion, a 2008 Olympian, a Bellator welterweight champion, and one FC welterweight champion. And he's also a former UFC fighter and has built a real name for himself with his career. Ben, welcome to one of America's one and only radio shows dedicated to cryptocurrency. Now, in your own words, please introduce yourself and tell us what you've been doing for these past few days.
I'm Ben Askren. I wrestled. Currently, I'm retired from all of it, and I coach wrestling. My brother and I own 5 wrestling academies in Wisconsin, and I do some media stuff too. I podcast Full of Wrestling, and I used to actually have a podcast for crypto, and we shut it down about 6 months ago. It was just getting too busy.
Well, wow. I know I can fully understand having a full plate. I definitely have experienced that and still experiencing that. But Ben, for someone like myself who is unfamiliar with the world of combat sports, can you share with us maybe how you got that nickname Funky? I mean, I'm assuming that's a nickname.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might be a little too complex for if you don't know wrestling. It just came from wrestling. It came from my unorthodox style. And a buddy made a shirt one time that had my face on it and it said Funky, and it stuck.
Okay, I like that. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I didn't ever know that. Hey, so since this is a cryptocurrency show, can you share with us what got you so excited about this new asset class, and how did you get introduced to cryptocurrency?
Sure. So it was at one of my fights. It was my second to last fight before I retired the first time in September of 2017. I think it was August of 2017. And I had a friend who came along with the fight. It was actually in Shanghai. And he sat down and he said, "I got to tell you about Bitcoin." And he started talking. And it didn't take much convincing because I had always been a Ron Paul and the Fed type guy. Don't like the central banking, don't like fiat currency. And so, when he said it to me, it all just clicked. And I'm like, okay, cool. How do I buy some? And I think I literally started buying that day. And so now I feel like I'm probably an old person in the space of crypto, being that I've been here for, 6 years. 5 years plus. I've been through two, peaks or cycle tops, and I've been through this is the second cycle bottom that I'm going through, and so it never is fun.
Well, we are definitely cut from the same cloth here. I love to hear that. Another thing that I want people to know is, you are actively speaking and educating people about cryptocurrency. In fact, come Friday, October 21st in Vegas, Las Vegas, you'll be speaking at the Litecoin Summit about cryptocurrency in sports. Can you kind of maybe give a small preview of that? Is it around the topic of athletes being paid in cryptocurrency, maybe why that trend is picking up?
Yeah.
Share a little bit about that with us.
Sure. I actually don't like the whole get paid in crypto thing.
Okay.
For me, I don't understand it. It's like, okay, you get paid, and then if you want to buy crypto, you buy crypto, right? But I don't understand the whole desire to get paid in crypto. It doesn't really make a lot of sense for me. No, I think it's just about athletes raising awareness, and that's what my thing is. It's like, okay, we need to raise awareness, because I think if you ask 100 people, you say, what is money? It's this really simple question. I think the majority of them would say, oh, the U.S. dollar or a dollar or, something like that, as opposed to, money is something that we can exchange for goods and services. And then what is the best money, and a lot of people don't realize most fiat currencies are actually relatively poor. I mean, the U.S. dollar has actually done a pretty good job, although we're experiencing relatively high rates of inflation. If you look at some of the other fiat currencies and say Argentina or Venezuela, from year to year, they lose like 98% of their value. So when someone earns a dollar or they earn money, what they want that money to do is they want that money to retain its value. And so there's a lot of people like myself who think that something like Bitcoin, which is independent from any government, right? No government controls Bitcoin. It's code that was created and it runs, is going to be a hedge against the inflation that's happening everywhere. And it's going, in my opinion, it's the best money that humans have ever created.
Well, Ian, that's absolutely, and I want to ask you this question. This next question is just,
Well, I think one thing that I would find interesting to know. We got roughly 2 minutes before we got to go to break here. Being in the world of cryptocurrency here. Well, we got a couple segments, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But being in cryptocurrency for so long now and understanding this space, has any of this changed the way that you think once you've been introduced to it?
Like I said, when the first time my buddy told me about it, it clicked because I had understood the problems with the Fed and I understood the problems with fiat currencies. So I would say my education has probably deepened, but the understanding that the government controlling the sources of money and the problems with fiat currency, I would say I was kind of aware of those prior to getting into the crypto space.
Now, have you had any luck convincing other athletes to believe in this space? I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, you have. Can you share like a brief story about that?
I've been here 5 years now, so there's been quite a few people who have got to buy Bitcoin. I always thought it was really funny, and in 2020 is when we had the last halving, and then I think after coronavirus, I think it went down to right around $5,000 or something. And I was telling people the halving's coming, the price is going to go up. We're at a cycle bottom right now. I think I got one or two people to buy at sub like $5,000 ish, right? And then as the price started ticking up, more and more people were interested, and so I probably got a ton of people to buy at like 20,000, which was the old high. But it's so funny because at those best prices in the bear market, no one was interested, and then all of a sudden the price goes up, and everyone's like, "Oh, I want them." It's like, wait, why didn't you want them when it was 25% of what it is right now? It doesn't make any sense, but. We see that every 4 years.
That's why you want to be ahead of the curve, right? That's why you want to be listening to radio shows like this one and hearing from smart guys like Ben Askren. We'll be back with more with Ben and our guest co-host today, Joshua Anderson, and of course our host, Matthew J. Moore. Do need to take a quick time out, but when we come back, we're going to ask Ben about his appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast, because I'm kind of interested to hear what happened there. You're listening to it on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Be right back. Welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore, live and local from Tulsa, Oklahoma on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. We got a special guest today, and I'm gonna grill him about being a special guest on somebody else's show. What was he thinking instead of going there for anyway? Well, let's get our host back in here. Matthew J. Moore booked this guy, and you've been booking people from all over the world, Matt. So
left and
good
right.
on you, brother.
Hey, thank you. This is round two, and if you missed the first segment, we're chatting with a cryptocurrency enthusiast, former UFC fighter, and an overall MMA legend, some would say, and I would agree, Ben Askren, a.k.a. Funky. He has had a very successful career in combat sports, and his Defiant path has now crossed over into the world of cryptocurrency, hence why he's on this show. And to help me navigate this conversation is my friend, Tulsa top producer, premier realtor from eXp Realty, and fill-in co-host for Eric Cooper, Joshua Anderson. Joshua, you ready for ding, 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 round two?
Yes. No, I'm ready to get into this. And before we continue the conversation, I do want to make a point that don't forget, if you miss an episode of the radio show, you can always find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and krmg.com. And we got you covered.
Yeah, and don't forget, stick around for the last segment, because we are going to share once again how you can win $200 in Bitcoin, all thanks to our show sponsor, Get Hedge. So be sure to stick around for that. But I'm going to dish this over to Russell. Russell had a question for our guest today.
Yeah,
about,
I Googled you, Ben, because this is what I do. This is how I roll, and immediately popped up your appearance on JRE. That's the Joe Rogan Experience, which I believe is still the biggest podcast in all the world. And what interested me was you guys got discussing Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies, and you're both, I don't know, I don't think it was an argument, right? Was it more of a mutual admiration society?
Oh, man. That was so early in my journey, because I believe that was January of 2018, if I remember correctly. So I was 4 or 5 months into Bitcoin. It's kind of it's a little bit annoying that Joe has not jumped on the Bitcoin bandwagon yet. I know I've had a few friends discuss it with him, because that would be a big guy to get on our team. I do know, though, however, he is awakened to the dangers that central bank digital currencies pose to us. Right. I think he's talked about it on at least 4 episodes now. And so I think that's probably where he's going to come into Bitcoin at, is he's going to realize how scary these CBDCs are going to be and how, kind of what a freedom technology Bitcoin is. And that's when I think he's probably really going to jump on board.
I know that he recently signed a contract, and part of the payment was $100,000 worth of Bitcoin. So he's certainly not opposed. That is for sure. Man.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Wait, Joe Rogan got paid in Bitcoin?
That's what it says. Well, I'm looking at a website called Essentially Sports, and this is from May of this year, so
crap.
fairly new.
Yeah, I don't think that website's good. I think
okay. Well, know your sources, right?
Well, hey, we'll
Essentially Sports is. There's some of those websites that, especially in MMA. I don't know why it's especially in MMA, but especially in MMA, and they just have terrible information, and they kind of like make up lies.
Huh.
And I believe that's one of them.
Okay, well, we'll keep that in mind, definitely, for sure. But, here is another question that I wanted to ask you specifically, which is, one of the words that have often been used to define your life and career is the word defiant, right? Well, what is ironic is that things like Bitcoin have also been, described as a defiant way to undermine the current financial system. But it seems like this has kind of been an ongoing theme in your life. Can you share with us what you've learned about being defiant and maybe bucking the status quo?
Well, I think when we say the word defiant, sometimes it has negative connotations, but the way I like to think about it is you live your life the way you want to live your life by a set of values. And sometimes you find something and you say, I like this thing, and the majority of society wants to say, no, don't do that thing, And so, like, for me, the first thing would have been wrestling. And the first part of that was I was outspoken, and people don't like that in wrestling. People want wrestlers to just shut up and go wrestle, and I wouldn't do it. I wanted to speak my mind, and so I did, and I got a lot of heat for that. And then obviously, secondly, my wrestling style was really abnormal, but it was obviously led me to 2 national titles and 2 Hodge trophies for being the best college wrestler. And so I saw certain things certain ways, and society didn't want me to see them that way, right? In those specifically the wrestling community. And so I think that's the same thing with Bitcoin is like, man, I don't know, if you see Bitcoin the right way, you see Bitcoin as the best money. You see Bitcoin as a fair money for people who are unbanked around the world, or people who are in countries who their fiat currency it's inflating at 100% per year or more, right? And so you see this, and it's like there's no way you cannot be attracted to it. And a lot of society wants to keep you in line with what they think, but you see it, and there's no way you can turn away from it anymore. This is what I think, and this is what the truth is to me. And if you don't like it, so be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Ben, I want to tie into what you're talking about with your Defiant. I believe you have a book coming out this month called Funky. It's going to speak about your Defiant life journey. I'd love for you to take a moment and just share a little bit about what we can expect that you wrote in that book.
Yeah, so I have a book coming out October 25th. It's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all the major sites. It was fun. Actually, it started during Corona. I need to be busy and I need to be doing things. And I hit up one of my friends and I said, hey, you want to write a book with me? And he said, sure. So, we started, and I thought it was going to take 6 to 9 months, and it ended up taking like 2 years. But we got it done, and I'm really proud of it. I think it's a really fun read. I think it's insightful to my process of how I kind of got to the top in a bunch of different sports, because I wasn't that good of a wrestler when I started, and I had to just kind of grind. And eventually I achieved at the highest levels. And then my path through mixed martial arts is relatively unique also, in that I fought for all the 3 major organizations in the world, and there's very few people who fought for all 3 of them. I held belts in 2 of the organizations, and then I was part of the only trade ever currently in mixed martial arts. And that was how I eventually ended up in the UFC after being retired for like a year and a half.
Awesome. Well, hey, Ben, I wanted to definitely ask you this. You got to jump off at, was it 5:45 or here shortly? Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we've got a couple more questions that we'd like to ask you. We got to go to break here shortly. But if people were interested in following your work, where would they go?
Yeah, well, I'm most active on Twitter. I mean, I have all the social medias, but I find Twitter to be the most engaging and intellectual. I think if you had to rate them all on an intellectual scale, I think Twitter would score significantly higher than Instagram and Facebook. So I spend most of my time there.
Okay. Well, what's your handle?
Yeah. It's just my name,
Okay.
Askren.
That's simple enough.
Yep.
That's simple enough. Okay, well, great. Well, guys, I hope you're enjoying this show. And I just want to remind you, if you're new to this space and you want to learn more, you can always get in touch with me at mattjmoore.com. I'd always be happy to answer questions or set up a consultation.
And you spell that with 2 O's, mattjmoore.com. That's where you'll find it. And you'll also find that Get Hedge link. And you'll hear more about that coming up in the second half of the show. This is Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Oh, welcome back to Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. I'm Russell Mills. If you're a big OSU wrestling fan, you might remember the name of Ben Askren. You might not remember it fondly because he won Big 12 championship. And I'll bet you he beat a couple of them Cowboys in the process of doing that. Anyway, he joins us today. He's our live guest, and interesting chat so far, all put together by this man, the namesake of the show and our host, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
That's right. I bet this state, Oklahoma, is probably a bittersweet taste in Ben's mouth. But hey, you know what? We're here to make amends. We're here to celebrate. We're here to talk about cryptocurrency because that's what this show is about. But if you missed the last few segments, that's right. We've been chatting with former UFC fighter and MMA legend Ben Askren, and we've been asking him questions about the unconventional and possibly defiant career path that he's taken throughout his life. With many winning titles in combat sports, he is now diving in deep in the world of cryptocurrency. And with me to unpack this conversation is my friend, Tulsa top producer, premier realtor from eXp Realty, and fill-in co-host for Eric Cooper, Joshua Anderson. Josh, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, thank you, Matt. I'm glad you asked me to do this. It's been really fun.
Yeah,
especially I like talking to Ben. I'm a big fan, so it's just kind of been fun for me to listen to him talk about something that I also am passionate about. So
yeah,
anyway.
I will say you're doing a great job. Eric would be very proud. So.
Good.
Well, let me dive in here, Ben. I know you're on the line here. I do have a question for you. My buddy Brian Smith did want me to ask you a couple of questions before you gotta jump off. But the first one here is, he wanted to know what has been your favorite victory in your sports career and why.
Well, I would say there's a couple. The top two that jumped to the top of my mind were my first NCAA title because you guys must have done all of your research. I only have 8 losses, and unfortunately 7 of them are to an Oklahoma State Cowboy named Chris Pelton. So without him, I only lose at one time ever in college. So I lost my first 2 NCAA finals to Chris Pelton, and so when I won it my junior year after coming up a little bit short twice, that was huge, and then obviously making the Olympic team because that was kind of a lifelong dream for me. So I would say those 2 if I had to pick.
That's awesome.
All right, Ben, I have a question. Yeah. Oh, actually, this is one of Brian's questions, but he thinks that you would win a fight against Jorge Masvidal in another rematch. Do you think that too, and how would you do that? How would that fight? How would you win that fight?
Yeah. Like I thought I was going to win the first time by kicking him down and beating him up. Unfortunately, I'm retired. I think there's probably a very small chance of that ever happening, but I have said that the only time I would ever fight again is if I got to fight him, and that's it.
All right. Now I got one more. We want to know, can Anderson Silva beat Jake Paul? Why or why not?
Well, I don't know. I'm very split because I kind of hope so. But then, obviously if Jake Paul beats Anderson Silva, then I don't feel nearly as bad about myself because Anderson Silva is a very, very high-level striker. I mean, one of the highest-level strikers I've ever seen in mixed martial arts.
Right.
But Jake has proven to be, probably most unfortunately for me, significantly better than we thought he was. You know, I beat my friend Tyron Woodley 2 times, and Tyron's a much better boxer than myself. So I was hoping he stuck to boxing, and unfortunately, he was kind of skilled.
Yeah.
Well, all good points there. I did have a question for you here. How would you? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could parallel this. Maybe you could speak to this. The mindsets within the sports. Are there any parallels between the world of combat sports and cryptocurrency that you find as a resemblance or relational?
Yeah, I guess the only one, and I don't know if this would be just combat sports. I think this would really be really applicable to life, but certainly true in all of them. Is that great things take a long time. You know, when I think about my Olympic journey, I first had Olympic aspirations in the year 2000, right? And I finally made those come true in 2008. And so, you know, that was like an 8-year journey. And I think a lot of people hop into crypto when they think, oh, this is going to go up and I'm going to get rich really fast. And listen, that's obviously happened in certain cases, you know? But I think the people who stick around are the people who see the value, and they're in it for a long time. I'm in this for a really long time, like probably forever.
Right.
And so I think, you know, great things take a while, and it's not just Bitcoin's not going to pop up and then overnight everyone say, oh, you know what? I realize that the money I've been using is not actually the best money. I'm ready to switch. You know, that's just not how people work. That's not how things work. Great things take a really long period of time. And so I think that's probably the biggest one. And that's from my life. And I guess kind of to tack on to that, one of my friends who read it the other day, he said he was reading it with, I think, his 10-year-old son. And one of the themes he kept coming up with is how I was never afraid to fail and how I just kept putting myself in situations over and over and over again. Like I said, I wasn't really good when I was young, but I wasn't scared to show up and do battle. And, you know, that's the kind of same thing when you think of this crypto space. Like, it's not just one way, right? It's not just it's going up the whole time, right? It's up and then it's down, and there's great periods and there's hard periods. And, you know, a lot of people, they love the great periods and then they quit during the bad periods. And that's not just cryptocurrency, right? That's life. And the people who succeed greatly in life are the ones who are able to deal with the ups and the downs and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, consistency. Well, you know, you have definitely been a consistent person in all you do, but here's a question for you. What is next for Ben Askren? Can you share with us your future plans? I mean, do you plan to dig deeper into the world of crypto, or do you got, you know, just focusing on combat sports?
Well, yeah, like I said, I'm going to be in crypto forever. I don't know. I enjoyed my time on the podcast when I did my podcast, The Funky Crypto Show. I got to talk to some really amazing people who I probably otherwise would not have had conversations with. Will I ever do it again? I don't know. You know what? When I stopped, I was just too busy, and I said, hey, you know, John Kimber was my coach. Hey, John, I can't do this anymore. I'm just too busy. Right. And so, like, I really enjoyed it, and if it happened to happen again and I had time, I would love it. But my main focus right now, like I said earlier, was me and my brother own 5 wrestling academies in Wisconsin, and it's going really, really well. And I really, really love coaching the next generation. So that's probably the main area of my focus right now.
That's awesome. Well, I'm sure, you know, it's well needed, and you'll be able to give back and make a huge difference that way. That's really cool. Well, when it comes to the world of crypto, you are very familiar with the crypto Twitter or Bitcoin Twitter. Do you have any favorite influencers or favorite people that you enjoy following, or maybe even somebody that you spoke to on your own podcast?
Yeah, I mean, we got to speak to so many really awesome people. You know what's kind of sad, though? A few of those people I thought were amazing ended up being scammers like Alex Mashinsky with Celsius.
Right.
So, you know, it's partially unfortunate. You know, one of the guys who he is, I don't know if the word would be hard to love. I don't know if that's a fair term. He's very aggressive on Twitter, but he is very consistent. He sticks to the same messaging, and that's Safin Amus. And obviously he has, in my opinion, the best Bitcoin book, which is the Bitcoin Standard. I think you should read that. Anyone. It should be required reading for everybody is the Bitcoin Standard. Let's see. I love Dylan LeClaire. I love Will Clementi. I follow Leah Heilpern. She was on our show about 4 times. Yeah, quite a few crypto people that I follow. Michael Saylor's obviously great.
Yeah. No, those are all great. No, I mean, there's so many smart and intelligent people in the space, and you've picked out some really good ones. And I absolutely agree with you that should be required reading. But yeah, man, I am so thankful that you've jumped on and shared your story. And just one more time, I know you've got to jump out here in just a second, but before you do, can you share with people one more time where they can check out your book and when it comes out and how they can follow you?
Yeah, just follow me at Ben Askren. You'll get the most if you follow me on Twitter. And then my book's coming out October 25th, so that's it's just a week and a half away or so. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the major retailers will be having it.
Excellent. Well, Ben, thanks so much for joining us on the show, and hopefully we'll have you on in the future. This is one of America's only, if not the only, radio shows dedicated to this subject. So, again, we appreciate you jumping on, but we will catch you next time.
All right, have a great day.
All right, we'll see you, man. Well, guys, if you're listening to this show, I hope you've enjoyed our interview with Ben. We do have some announcements to make. Maybe you're new to this space. Maybe you're already a fanatic, and maybe you've been to our Tulsa Bitcoin meetups, right? Because we do have those. They happen once a month. Charlie Spears and Andrew Ryan, they are the people who kind of round it up and make it happen. But Tuesday, October 18th at 7 p.m., located at Welltown Brewery. You might have been there. First round of drinks, catch this, first round of drinks is free, so I definitely would encourage you to come. And that's all thanks to our sponsor, Holberton Coding School. And for more details, I want you to go to my website, mattjmoore.com. Scroll down to the Tulsa section. You'll see a bunch of buttons where you can be a part of the communities and follow what's taking place, because you definitely want to get those notifications every time we have those meetups. Because I will tell you, if you're new to this space, one of the most important things you can do is build a community, meet like-minded people, learn from other people who are in this space, because it's not just about technology. There's definitely investment strategies. There's definitely an overall understanding of where this space is going. So I don't want you to get discouraged, especially when it's a bear market. So this is a great opportunity to come and meet me and also a bunch of other people who are in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space. And I also want you to know that Ben, who we've had on today as a guest, Ben Askren, he's going to be speaking at the Litecoin Summit, which is going on in Las Vegas, October 21st and 22nd. And you can catch Ben there along with a bunch of other athletes who are into cryptocurrency. There's going to be a bunch of other great speakers. You can check it out and buy tickets at litecoin.net/summit. So I really want to make it out there. I fully plan on doing it. There's a slim chance I may not, but I'm definitely going to be encouraging people to check it out. They're going to stream it live. So if you go to their website, you can watch a lot of the speakers online as well. But also, if you want a one-on-one consultation in this space, go to my website, mattjmoore.com. I'd be happy to answer your questions, meet you one-on-one, because that's really why we do this show. It's about education. It's about bringing on great people to have great conversations, seeing where they're at where they are in the space, what they've learned, and how you can apply it to your own life and investment strategy. So mattjmoore.com. That's Matt with 2 T's and Moore with 2 O's.
More, give us more. Well, we will. We're going to take a quick time out. By the way, reminder that Bitcoin meetup is Tuesday. Remember, October 18th. They start at 7. It's at the Welltown Brewery this week, which is there near Main and Archer, right downtown. And by the way, the topic is back to basics. So if you're a first-timer, that sounds like a good meetup for you. We'll be back with more of Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore on 102.3 KRMG. Do appreciate you hanging out with us on Sunday evenings. We're here just darn near every Sunday, live and local from Tulsa, Oklahoma, with one of the only all crypto radio broadcasts in the world. All the brainchild of this guy, Matthew J. Moore. Hey, Matt.
So good to be back. This is going to be our final round. And if you weren't listening to the whole show, well, you've missed a good one, because we've had a very special guest join us, and it was a real privilege to chat with him. He's a former UFC fighter, an MMA legend, some would say. His name is Ben Askren, and this whole episode, we got to kind of go through his unique career path and his overall passion for the cryptocurrency space. It's been a good show, and my good friend Joshua Anderson got to fill in for Eric Cooper today as my co-host. So Joshua, how has this experience been for you? Would you come back and help me out again if I needed you?
Absolutely. No, this has been a good time. It's been fun. I mean, who gets to say they get to talk to Ben Askren now?
Right.
Just in a normal, casual conversation. So that's super fun. Great to be here. So I appreciate it. So
Yeah. Well,
thanks.
tell people where they could go if they missed our show today.
Yeah. So if you missed the show today, you can go to either Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, krmg.com, and mattjmoore.com. And just search for Cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore.
That's right. It's that simple. We are all over the place. We even upload to YouTube. So if you did miss the good conversation today, encourage you to go back, check it out. And it's also important for me to let you know that this show is made possible by a great sponsor of ours. They are called Get Hedge, and they keep us going so we can help spread the Bitcoin cheer and increase mass adoption to help people and a whole new audience, honestly, because this message is for everybody. And, here's a question that I wanted to ask you. If you're in this space, or maybe you're thinking about it, you got to have a strategy. We all need a strategy, right? So what is your strategy to obtain cryptocurrency on a regular basis? Well, I encourage a automatic dollar cost averaging tool. And guess what? GetHedge, they can provide that. So you can actually, what's unique about GetHedge is you can get all or maybe just part of your paycheck in Bitcoin. So whenever you get paid, you can make it happen, right? Hedge is revolutionizing how you get paid, and Hedge makes it easy to automatically convert your pay into crypto. Whether you're an employee or an employer, anybody can do it. You can set it up. It's pretty easy. 4 easy steps. So you can start getting paid in either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Litecoin. So crypto, in my opinion, and of a lot of our guests, is a long-term play. So again, you need to start a strategy today. And Hedge is here to make it easy to make it happen so you can stack those sats month after month. And if you don't know what a sat is the short term of talking about a smaller unit of a Bitcoin. Much like we have dollars, quarters, pennies, right? You got to be divisible. So what are you waiting for? Start living your life on the Hedge. Check them out at gethedge.io. Again, that is gethedge.io. And you may, if you were listening to the show earlier, you may have been like, Matt, what about that free $200 Bitcoin? How can I qualify to win that? Well, lucky for you, we've had a recent winner. His name is Jem, and we posted about it. And we do want to celebrate those who win the $200 Bitcoin. Not everybody wants to be, announced publicly who they are, who won. But this is a great opportunity to increase your portfolio because guess what? That $200, that can become so much more in the future when it comes to purchasing power. It is an investment, but you can essentially go to my website, mattjmoore.com, scroll down to the resource section, and there will be a button that says Get Hedge. You can click that, and you can sign up. And here's the catch: you gotta start using Hedge. You can't just click the button. You got to sign up, start using it, allocate a portion of your paycheck into Bitcoin or any of the other cryptocurrencies that I mentioned. It can be as little or as much as you want. So you must be actively using it. But keep in mind that when you're using Hedge, guess what? You skip the exchange process altogether, which can sometimes be a headache. And, honestly, I don't encourage people to keep their money on an exchange. So, it's cool because you can have it, all of it, every single bit of it. If it's small or large, you can have it sent to a wallet that you control. You're in full control of it. So go to my website, mattjmoore.com, scroll down to that resource section and click that button. So Joshua, I want you to go ahead and let the people know. We were talking about it before we went to break about the Tulsa Bitcoin meetup, which happens monthly. And there's going to be some cool stuff going on there.
Yeah. No, that's going to be great. So it's this Tuesday, October 18th, and it's going to be at 7 p.m. located at Welltown Brewery. Now, this is the craziest thing. The first round of drinks, believe it or not, will be free.
Right.
This is all thanks to our sponsors over at Holberton Coding School. That's Holberton Coding School. For more details, go to Matt's website at mattjmoore.com and scroll down to Tulsa section.
Right.
And don't forget, the Litecoin Summit is going on in Las Vegas, October 21st and 22nd, and you can catch Ben there along with many other great speakers. Check it all out. Get tickets at litecoin.net/summit.
Should be a great time. Las Vegas is never boring, that's for sure. Yeah. Well, Josh, I want to flip this on to you here. I got a couple questions I want to ask you. We got about 3 minutes before we got to close out the show, but you're here filling in as my co-host for Eric Cooper, and obviously you're very interested, invested into cryptocurrency. You've been doing your studying. What was your genesis? What got you into the space? Was I responsible, or was there somebody else?
No, you helped.
I did.
Yeah,
okay.
you were. So I was already like walking up to the ledge, and then you kind of came over and pushed
you.
Yeah. So, no, I took interest in 2017.
Okay.
That's when I really was put on the map for me. I seen what was going on, and then I started looking at everything that crypto is doing, and just watching what fiat was.
Right.
I started learning about money, and yeah. That's where I took an interest into it.
Well, as a real estate agent, do you see more opportunities in the future where maybe people will buy and sell real estate in cryptocurrency? Because I know there are some companies out there. I mean, I've had conversations with some CEOs. I'm not going to mention them, but there are some real estate companies that are interested in that.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting as I've been approached by buyers asking, "Hey, how do we purchase a home?" And we have USDT.
Right.
Which, if for you that don't know, is a U.S. dollar token. And it's just some people will hedge, put their Bitcoin into that. It's a non-volatile market. And people are asking me, how do I buy a house with crypto? And, those are some things I'm going to start trying to figure out, because it is a question I'd like to answer.
Right. Well, and it's going to keep growing, because as people invest in this space, especially, hey, you know what? If you're buying right now, it's the bear market. Prices are low. Blood's in the water. This is when you need to be buying. But guess what? When we have another bull market and the prices go up and your assets appreciate, well, sometimes it's necessary to go ahead and spend that on some real world assets that can be a benefit to you. So real estate is definitely going to be one of them. Do you, as far as you, Josh, being in the space, do you bring it up to other people? Do you, in real estate, is there pushback? Is there interest? I mean, are you kind of an oddity?
I'm an oddity. I don't know. Actually, I've run into other agents or other people that have been interested. I'm in an NFT that the project was to buy real estate.
Right.
And they used the funds from the NFT project to purchase real estate property. So I know that's out there. I know people are interested, but I guess there's not a lot of us yet.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that trend is going to grow. I mean, because for the longest time I was shouting at a brick wall, but slowly but surely more people are starting to take interest in this space, and I don't blame them, because it's definitely new, but there's definitely a lot of great opportunity, and that's why I encourage you to do your homework now. Yes. Be early, right? You don't want to be stuck on the sidelines when things really start get rolling, but people think, oh, man, it's too late. I'm too late. Nope, you're not. You're still early, man.
And you don't want to be late for next week's show. So remember, we'll be here Sunday evening at 5 p.m. We will be live and local in Tulsa, Oklahoma with cryptocurrency with Matthew J. Moore. That's our promise to you. So we'll meet you here next Sunday. I'm Russell Mills. Have a great week. Stay safe out there.